Hello everyone, thanks for coming outside with me today. Sorry it's a little bit windy. We're going to go plant some food plots today. I'm going to talk about a little bit about tree stand placement, what kind of plot I'm planting, how I'm doing it. A little Hidey hole food plot today. I don't have a whole lot of property to work with here, but we're on my father-in-law's ground. We're here in the side by side. We're going to go down to the woods and show you what we do here. So right here we have our first stop of the day. This was last year's attempt at a food plot. It didn't work out so well. Down here we have a whole bed of clover coming in. It is a good looking. We have some red and white clover here, Ladino. I think in a whole bed of it down in there. It's super. I overseeded it, deliberately overseeded it with the hopes that it can compete with the weed species. We have ragweed in here. It's pretty disgusting. Some ragweed, some brassicas. Some clover has come really, really well. I'm very pleased with that. I think deer will still come into this area. I think it'll still be a great place to set a stand. My stand placements just up here on the other side of the power line. And this is the reason why I put this food plot here. As you can see, probably the canopy opens up right here, and that's why all this stuff is growing. Nothing really grew on this section of the power line. I tried to get it, but there's just too much canopy, too much shade. So we're going to go now to the place that I've cleared out, show you how I start doing an interior woodland food plot like this, and see if we can make it successful and hopefully arrow a deer out of it this fall. Okay, so this location right here is ultimately step number one in determining your food plot location, what you're going to do with it. This is just an old power line, and it's the same power line you saw down over there. And you can see it has some pretty decently thick native vegetation, but there was a deer trail, a pretty prevalent deer trail, running through here. So I came through here with a weed whacker and a hand scythe and a chainsaw, and I took down all this scrub pine that was in here, took down all this stuff in here, and I made this not only a side-by-side, an ATV trail for me to have access to the equipment in and out, but also I made it much more obvious as a deer trail. I really want the animals to use this trail. I really want them to utilize it day in and day out and feel comfortable being in it. And so that's why I left all the vegetation on the side. I didn't spray anything, didn't try to kill anything down. Tried to leave it just as natural as possible. This goes right to my food plot and right to my hopeful food plot, my hopeful stand location. So let's drive through here. It's a little bit harrowing, but I think we can do it. And I'll show you the location up there. So here you go. This is the spot. It all looked like that native thick vegetation several weeks ago. I came through and did most of the manual labor already. I ended up raking it all out. There's a lot of pine needles that have already fallen from these trees. As you can see here, we have a really large pine tree right here. Rather large trees, but most of it's dead. You have a pretty decent spot in your canopy where we have sunlight coming through. You can probably see that over there. And so I figured if we're going to try to grow something, this would be the place to do it. And you need a low light plant, so like a clover, maybe a ryegrass, a brassica kind of thing. Soil's going to be decently acidic, but it's rather wet, so we should have good soil contact moisture. Today we're going to get fertilizer in, we're going to get some lime down in, I know lime takes a couple of months to get in here, and I know for a Hidey whole food plot it seems a little bit overkill, but I know with the amount of pine needles and everything else, this is probably going to be a decently acidic plot. So I'm going to get that in here, get it all planted. Obviously you can see stuff grows. It's just a matter that there was really no seed bed here. There was vine, ground ivy all over the place and everything else. I had to rake all that out and pull it all out by hand. But we're going to get in here, spread some lime, spread some fertilizer, and see if we can't get a fruit plot to grow. Okay, so what we've done here is very simple. I didn't get much of a video of it. But basically all we did was, I took my garden rake here, took my walk behind seed spreader, and I took 10-10-10 fertilizer, nothing extravagant, nothing special, and I cast it over top of everything, duff and all, and then I just lightly went over with a rake and just walked behind, just like that. And I've got it all covered up. You can probably see my footprints everywhere as I'm walking. This ground is very soft and very wet. It's a rather clay-like soil here. I think we could get some good germination of a seed type in here. Both sides of this area that I'm standing in here had existing deer trails. The one coming over here from the neighboring ground, and obviously the trail that we just came out of that I showed you earlier. But there's also a couple other ones here. And what I did is I blocked them off on the far side. Want the deer, when I'm actually sitting in a tree, which should probably be right behind you here, I want them to come in from there, and I want them to come in from there. I don't want them coming up out of here and have the possibility of seeing me, or even worse, smelling me. I want them to come from over there and over there. I don't want them coming up through here. So I strategically have picked this location, not only for the trails, but also the fact that I can block off the trails. I could have set this, and I'll show it to you later, behind you, we actually have an existing ladder stand, and I could have set it up in this area. I could have just come through and burned all of this native vegetation off and glyphosate, or maybe just cut it all down and then raked it out. But I wanted it right here because of this existing travel route, and the fact that behind you is just giant open space, 360 degrees of entry, and I don't want that. I want this tiny little trap plot where the deer are naturally moving through, and I want them just to stop for like 2 minutes. You know, anywhere between 30 seconds to 5 minutes is optimal, and that's why I call it a trap plot. Just going to trap them in an area where they can just have to come, take a little bite to eat. Deer's not going to pass with a free meal, right? They're an opportunistic herbivore. So they're going to come through here, or maybe a little bit over there, or come behind me. They're going to waltz right in, take a little bite of clover, a little bite of ryegrass and brassica, and then be on their way. And hopefully I'm sitting right there with my recurve or a compound. This is quick stand, no-till forage. Got this at Tractor Supply. Ryegrass, brassica, and clover. And I'm actually kind of excited about it. Last year I planted a little bit of ryegrass, just kind of in a patch, and the deer absolutely hammered it. It was just a little patch, and they literally mowed it to the ground. So I saw the ryegrass sound like a great idea. Obviously white clover, fantastic addition. Something like soybeans are probably the best overall food plot for a Hidey hole like this, and with the low amount of sun, the acidic soil, you want to go something like a brassica, clover, ryegrass, something that needs about 4 at the most, 4 to 6 hours of direct sunlight. This probably is only going to get 3 to 4 at tops. Put this into the spreader, and we're going to do the exact same thing that we did for the fertilizer. We went up and down with the rake for the fertilizer. So for the grass seed, for the seed blend, we're going to go this way. And we're going to do this. We're just going to walk around. We're going to spread it. Let's fill the spreader and let's keep going. Okay, so now that we have it all raked in, all the seeds in the ground, everything's fine. Now we're just going to wait for rain and the fertilizer to kick in, and hopefully gives everything a good germination start. So obviously over here we have that ATV trail. Here we have the power line, obviously running right above my head, going up to those two flag pieces of tape. You can see them, and you can see this is an obvious clearing, and deer have been following this. I'm going to come through here later on in the season, clear out a lot of these twigs, definitely make it a quiet area for deer to want to travel. Obviously here we have the plot. You can see here this big pine tree. Most of it on the lower tier is dead, so the canopy is smaller. We're surrounded by a lot of smaller pine trees as well. There's the sun. And so we're getting decent sunlight on the forest floor here. It's not an extravagant amount, but it's a pretty good amount. From the plot here on the ground, it's pretty gnarly. I got a lot of vines still, a lot of dead, dead shrubs and stuff that didn't pull all the way out. I didn't like to pull all of it out because it keeps the soil. We're on just a tiny bit of a slope, and so that root base still is holding the soil in place. Obviously the root base from these pine trees around us are holding it in, but this is hopefully that root mat is keeping it in, but even though the plants hopefully should be choked out by my food plot growing in. So here is what I'm talking about in terms of that brush blocking off. So we have this part here, this trail over here. I'm cool with that being there. I'm fine with that. That's just pretty close to over there with the power line, less than 10 yards. So I'm really comfortable with that being here. This one, however, you can maybe make it out. Coming out of this here was this trail here, and I just choked it with brush. I don't want any animals, deer, or turkeys, or bear, using this entrance into this plot. I want them to go from there, and then obviously up here by the ATV trail. So I choked off this trail right here. There's another one coming right through here, and I just obliterated this. I mean, you can see it through that. There's a little dead pine scrub in there, and then there was one right here, and it's completely just covered in with duff and mat and everything else, and that's a dead bush there, or at least it's going to die. I cut it. The idea of these smaller plots is that you have to just kind of catch them in an area where they're going to be naturally. Having it set up in a natural travel corridor, it's not a funnel, it's just a natural place where they go, to make them come here maybe just a few more times and stay a little bit longer than they normally would. That's exactly what I'm shooting for. You can probably see through all the bushes in there. Right there is a existing ladder stand that we have, and from over there to here, it's about a 35-yard poke. To the far side of the plot, it's definitely probably pushing 45, 50. And for a crossbow, which is what my father-in-law hunts with, that's that's perfectly viable shot. But for a compound or a recurve shooter like myself, I don't like to go any more than 25, 30 yards. And that's not because I can't go to 40, 50 yards. It's just, that's not an ethical place to be shooting at an animal with a compound. In particular, it's no place for a recurve. So I'd like to get as close as possible. The prevailing wind most of the time is out of the west or southwest here in central PA. The south and southwest is coming up this way, so up this ATV trail. So I'll probably enter my stand from back over here, and that's why I'm going to park my butt right here on this side, because this wind, actually we have a very nice southwest wind today. It's coming right into my face right now, and actually a few spritz of rain, I believe. All right, I'll take that. So it's a good southwest wind, a west wind. If this is southwest, then we have straight south, we have straight west, and so anything from that is golden. It's not a problem. It's just anything from the north and the east. But you put a plot and you put a stand in to hunt it with those specific winds. You hunt them when the time is right. Well, thanks for coming with me, everybody. Hopefully you're able to learn a little bit how I kind of set up my trap plots, how I kind of work them. I don't get too into food plots. They're not really my cup of tea. I'd much rather just hunt the land that I have and work with the natural habitat, but that area was too perfect for me to at least give it a shot. I think total money invested was less than $30 worth of fertilizer and seed and chemicals, herbicide, and then it was just sweat equity from there. Just working with a rake and a grass whip and the Side by side was nice to have there, just to haul equipment in and out. But a very inexpensive way to get, you know, a little bit of a food source towards your for your wildlife, and you know, maybe possibly put a deer within range or a turkey within the limits of a shotgun. So I hope you're able to and get outside, enjoy God's beautiful creation, enjoy the growing green things of summer and spring. I hope maybe you're able to hunt over those growing green things as well. So until next time, God bless.